morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gents. This is your boy Casanova from Orlando, Florida, on this awesome and international podcast, Good Wine and Great Laughs, the podcast for wine lovers and hot topics. Welcome to Casa Casanova. I'm your host, Casanova, and every Saturday morning at 10 a.m., I will have the wine of the day, and I'll give the information about the wine. I will taste it. I'll let you know what I think about this wine. I always give a rate between 1 to 10. If the wine is the way I like it, and I give a high score, the wine and make a cut, I'll get a spot on my wine collection that I have here in my kitchen. As well, if you wanted to find out the wine, if you like the information that I pass to you related to the wine, if you look at my social medias right here and link it in from my podcast, it's the same name right here. You can see right there. You can find me on all social medias, and there's a clear picture of the wine over there for you to look at it. If you like, you take it for the wine store, and if you taste it or any wine that I have here on my podcast, do me a favor, if you go to my comments right here or on any of my social medias, let me know what you think about the wine of the day, ladies and gents. Followed by the topic of the day. It's always a hot topic related to things that can affect our lives directly or indirectly. So if you love wine and if you like hot topics, this podcast YouTube channel is for you. So, and today is Saturday, November the 2nd, 2024, and the weather here in Orlandito is going to be highs of 85 and lows of 70 degrees. All right, ladies and gents, before I stop talking about the topic of the day, let's jump right on this wine right here. I got another Riesling from Germany, ladies and gents, as from Carl Sittman. You don't see the name right here, Carl Sittman. It's a Riesling. For another air from Moselle, I did have another wine from the same region right here, say Moselle Riesling white wine. The vintage of 2022. Alcohol percent of this wine is 9.5, and according to the front label, say the Carl Sittman. This vineyard is since 1879. Quite history behind. Says right here that Carl Sittman delivers quality wine from Germany's most famous and respected wine region, the Moselle. The terraced slopes which line the Moselle River produce Rieslings of world-class quality, respected and cherished by wine lovers around the world. Enjoy this fruity, medium sweet, and elegant wine with fruits, cheeses, and spicy Asian cuisine. Once again, alcohol percent is 9.5. Is a product of Germany. Put my glass here. Let's see what this wine is all about. Okay, nice bouquet. Ladies and gents, my personal opinion of this wine, I give a 10. And the reason for that, for those that follow me for a while, I state that before, I'm going to say that again. I'm not a fan of too sweet wine. The wine is too sweet, just like the turn off for me. But this wine, the level of sweetness for me is perfect. I give it a 10. It's not saturated sweet. Definitely is. There's a nice fruity taste in the back of the palate. Very enjoyable, very crispy. It's a very pleasant wine. I definitely recommend it. This one got a 10. Definitely make a spot. Now after I finish this, When the wine make a spot on my wine collection, ladies and gentlemen, I go back to the wine store where I got it from and I purchase another wine. So I have a brand new bottle wine on my white section of my wine collection. I have 3 different racks. One for white wine, one for red wine, and in my bedroom I have another rack of my most preferred and delicious wine that I keep right by my bed. So I can drink right there if I want to with everything that I need to enjoy my wine bottle. Ladies and gents, so let me pour a little bit of this wine here before we jump on the topic of the day, ladies and gents. And the topic of the day for season 9, episode 14 is Trump's Madison Square Garden rally is equal to defending the flames of hate against minority groups. Ladies and gents, I know for the whole week since last Sunday, you heard a lot of stuff on the news about it, especially this comedian named Tony Hinchett. I wrote his name somewhere. Tony whatever. Piece of crap Tony. Shitty Tony. That's what I'm going to call this piece of crap, ladies and gents. And after watching this couple, I believe I have 3 videos I'm going to play around. Keep drinking this wine right here. You're going to watch these videos together. And when I finish playing the videos, I always give you my 2 cents because I did some research. I made some notes. I came prepared to share with you this information. So enough talking because it is showtime.
This morning, the Trump campaign is playing cleanup, trying to distance the campaign and the candidate from comments made from the stage at his big rally yesterday here in New York. Comedian Tony Hinchcliffe was among the warm-up acts to speak, and here's what he said.
I welcome migrants to the United States of America with open arms. And by open arms, I mean like this. These Latinos, they love making babies too, just know that. They do. They do. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Joining us right now, Democratic Congresswoman from New York, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Thanks for being here. You called this out last night. You were hanging out with Tim Walz. You guys were streaming. You called it out last night. Fresh eyes on it this morning when you see that remark and you see now that comedian responding to you guys. I'll read a bit of it for you. I know you've seen it, but for everyone out there. These people have no sense of humor. While the vice presidential candidate would take time out of his busy schedule to analyze a joke taken out of context to make it seem racist. I love Puerto Rico and vacation there. I made fun of everyone, watched the whole set. I'm a comedian, Tim. Might be time to change your tampon, is what he ends it with. What does it mean today? What does it do today?
You know, this honestly isn't really about a comedian. This is about the Trump campaign. Those comments and that individual saying those things on that stage, inciting an entire arena of individuals who have been previously incited to commit attacks like the ones we saw on January 6th by people like Donald Trump. None of that was an accident. These campaign events are put together. They are vetted. That language was vetted by the Trump campaign. That person was approved by the Trump campaign because he is speaking on behalf of the Trump campaign. And I think it's really important that people understand that when we see everything that's happening, what is being transmitted and said about Latinos in the United States is exactly what the Trump campaign means. He believes that Latinos, as we've seen, are an unimportant, unvalued, and unnecessary part of the United States of America. And when Stephen Miller comes on and talks about America for Americans, he's not even talking about U.S. citizens as Americans, because Stephen Miller kind of flirts with this idea of taking away U.S. citizenship from people depending on his own personal opinions about what being an American means. And so the Trump campaign is very clearly transmitting who they believe is an American and who they don't, not based on citizenship, but based on ethnicity and based on their opinion of Donald Trump.
When we look back at the numbers and the gains he has made with Latino voters since 2016, from 2016, depending what you're looking at with the numbers now, you see a 9-point gain. You've seen Harris I've seen 12 points fewer than Hillary Clinton got in 2016, seen some recent gains in some new polling just out yesterday that she's making with Latino voters. How do you explain it? How do you explain that Trump is making ground with Latinos?
I think ironically it's because he realized that he needed to keep his mouth shut with his bigotry for a very long period of time in order to try to make some kind of disingenuous case to the Latino community. But the fact
you don't believe him when he speaks to it.
Pardon?
You said disingenuous. You do not think when he speaks to Latino voters, when he speaks to helping community, when he's in Nevada speaking to workers.
No. I mean, you don't insinuate that Latinos are un-American or less American if you actually value them. He wants to be president of the United States. He'll say what he needs to say, but at the end of the day, when you look at what Kamala Harris does, she actually ironically unveiled her platform and plan for Puerto Rico yesterday, before that rally even started. And that plan involves actually addressing the displacement crisis that Puerto Ricans are facing right now, the displacement of doctors and teachers, the closures of schools and public facilities, the lack of investment in infrastructure, and as a Puerto Rican American, extremely concerned about people using tax loopholes to displace people in Puerto Rico. She's actually trying to see and solve and create opportunities for Puerto Rican Americans. And you see the contrast of Donald Trump maybe trying to distract from the fact that he has no economic plan for Latinos in general, but also not only that, blaming economic issues, for example, our housing crisis, on Latinos and on immigrants. Instead of actually coming up with a plan to help lower our cost of rent and mortgages, he's coming out here just trying to blame immigrants for the fact that it's actually his buddies and friends that are driving up the cost of housing in America.
Speaking of the broader campaign, I've seen Trump-aligned PACs. I've seen it on air and I've seen it digitally. Trump-aligned PACs have used you in ads to hit Kamala Harris, saying to label her San Francisco liberal is the term that they often use again and again. Do you think your support for her hurts her with moderate voters, which we have very clearly seen in the recent weeks that she's making a direct appeal to?
I don't think so. And I think that bears out in the data and the evidence, not just a matter of personal opinion. I work very closely alongside many of my colleagues across the House Democratic Caucus, and they are of all different kinds of political opinions. And frankly, I think moderate voters and everyday people see right through some of these scare tactics for what they are. They see how they are exaggerations. They see that these are kind of just baseless attacks. And that's made evident by the fact that I'm proud to be able to support, swing district Democrats, and they're not afraid of these attack ads. They're just not landing, and they're not effective.
Flip side of this, she has gone on a whole tour with former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney to try to win moderate Republicans. I mean, looking back, you and Liz Cheney in the House, you guys butt heads on issues over and over again. She calls Liz Cheney a true patriot when they were campaigning together. Is that hurting Kamala Harris with more progressive voters?
Well, listen, I think there's plenty of people that aren't happy about that. And I think that is part of the nature of putting together a coalition. I don't love it, but that doesn't mean that we aren't on the same team and we aren't on the same page when it comes to who is unequivocally the better candidate in order to win the presidential election.
On the issues, her evolution on positions, and she's explained the evolution on her positions from 4 years ago, fracking, border wall, border security, Medicare for all. They have moved from more progressive to more moderate. That's the direction you very clearly see in this election. Do you like that she is doing that? Do you like that shift?
I think that my stances on these issues are very clear. I believe that every single American has the right to health care, and we should be working to guarantee to improve and expand Medicare and lower the age of eligibility to 0. And that's my goal. I also believe that we need to have a real plan to document people who wish to come into the United States and contribute to our growing economy and really be part of what is charging the economy, which is frankly also what bears out in the data. That's not a matter of personal opinion. The American economy thrives because of our immigrant population. The way that we address the crisis is by actually providing a path to citizenship and documenting people. And when it comes to the climate crisis, our time is ticking down. But what I believe is that the Democratic Party is a coalition, and the stronger we make our case, and the stronger that we say we need to get big money out of politics, we need to tax these billionaires so that to the point that they stop manipulating our economy and squeezing the working class, I know what candidate the progressive flank has a fighting chance with. And it's not Donald Trump, it's Kamala Harris.
The final sprint for the White House is underway. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are entering the final full week of the campaign with no clear daylight between them. Both are targeting voters in swing states today. Right now, Harris is in Michigan on the first of 3 stops there, while her Republican rival, Donald Trump, will speak at 2 events in Atlanta in the coming hours. CBC's Paul Hunter is watching this crucial stage in the race for us, and he joins us from Washington. Paul, as I mentioned, Harris is talking right now, pitching her policies to Michigan voters, but it is the fallout from some controversial remarks at a Trump rally last night that continue to make headlines.
Yeah, what to make of those remarks, hey? Or more to the point, what are U.S. voters to make of those remarks? One of the questions in the Harris camp the past little while is how to best take on Donald Trump, given how close the contest is per the polls right now, but as well how to go after Trump on the negatives, or whether to do that, given that so many voters already know so much about him and his character, including the negatives. Tell me something I don't know kind of thing. Well, now we've got these remarks, and the kind of things that were said at that rally by people invited to the rally by Trump's team. For those who've been under a rock all day, let's play again a tiny bit of what was said by some at the podium in Madison Square Garden at that Trump rally last night in New York. Here it is.
A lot going on. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
So today, reaction from Kamala Harris as she continues to campaign as we speak, as you noted, at an event in Michigan. But earlier, stepping before reporters on the tarmac to give her view of those comments and others at that event in New York, and what it says about the Trump campaign, and indeed what it says about the candidate running to be president of the United States again. Here's Kamala Harris.
Donald Trump spends full time trying to have Americans point their finger at each other, fans the fuel of hate and division, and that's why people are exhausted with him. That's why people who formerly have supported Donald Trump, have voted for him, are supporting me, voting for me. People are literally ready to turn the page. I'm going to continue to do it. I'm very proud to have the support of folks like Bad Bunny and Jennifer Lopez and others who were supporting me before that nonsense last night at Madison Square Garden, and are supporting me because they understand that they want a president of the United States who's about uplifting the people and not berating, not calling America a garbage can.
The real question, of course, besides the outrageousness or nonsense, as she put it, of what was said at the Trump rally is, whether it will have an effect on voters. So much is baked in on both sides right now, Jacqueline. As much as this is, so much is being made of all of this, will it change minds? Will it change votes? And that, as much as anything else, says plenty about this contest. That said, while Puerto Ricans cannot vote in general elections in this country, their relatives in the U.S. mainland can, including great numbers of Puerto Rican family members, I guess, in places such as Pennsylvania, key battleground state where the contest is extremely close. Might it make a difference? We'll find out soon enough.
We are going to speak with a Puerto Rican community member in Pennsylvania coming up a little bit later this afternoon, Paul. So we'll definitely try to get a sense of how this is landing. But as we watch for Harris and Trump to take in more events today, President Joe Biden has been having his say in more ways than one on last night's comments and at the ballot box.
Sure, he's voting today in Delaware. The guy who, all things considered, might himself have been on the ballot right now, were it not for all kinds of things in this crazed political season. Indeed, he spoke about this today as well. Let's give a listen to Joe Biden.
It's embarrassing. It's simply embarrassing. It's beneath any president, but that's what we're getting used to. That's why this election is so important. Most of the presidential scholars I've spoken to talk about the single most consequential thing about a president's character. And he puts that in question every time he opens his mouth.
But again, Jacqueline, I've got to underline, will it make a difference? There was cheering in Madison Square Garden last night for such remarks and others, and laughter, right? I mean, the comments come not from Trump, but from those selected and allowed in by his team. The type of comments, extreme as they were, I mean, they resonate with all kinds of Americans. We've seen this throughout the campaign at Trump rallies. There are people that listen to those kinds of comments, and they don't find them abhorrent. This is just a fact, and it's as if Trump and his campaign team are kind of banking that it'll be okay to double down, as they say, on that kind of stuff. That's why we have Election Zone. As I say, we'll find out soon enough how this plays out.
We absolutely will, Paul. Thanks so much. That's CBC's Paul Hunter in Washington. Our next guest is in one of those swing states. Monica Padilla is a local community leader, and she joins us now from Philadelphia. Monica, thank you so much for making time for us this afternoon.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
I want to start with your reaction to what we heard from the rally for Donald Trump last night. You're a Puerto Rican community leader. You hear from a lot of people where you are about how they feel about issues that the campaign leaders, the candidates in this election are coming out with in terms of how they're trying to reach you. And we heard quite an array of comments last night at this rally, particularly from a comic, Tony Hinchcliffe. He called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. What did you make of that?
First of all, I felt completely disrespected, but I wasn't shocked, actually. I feel like the Trump and his party kind of already displayed their disrespect plenty of times prior to this. Starting with, when Hurricane Maria hit the island of Puerto Rico, he came out and his support was throwing paper towels into a crowd as if it was playing basketball, when so many thousands of people have died due to that hurricane. I think he showed his dislike for Puerto Ricans when he held back federal aid during the hurricane season. I think it was like $20 billion that he was holding up. And another thing was he made a comment about trading Puerto Rico for Greenland, and that was like, I want to say 2022 or something like that. So I'm not shocked at all, but I am highly disrespected.
Now, the campaign, Trump's campaign, says that that comment, the comic's comments rather, don't reflect the party's values or Trump's values. Does that reach people? That the distancing themselves from this comic rather, who was a headliner, opener at this rally?
Absolutely not. I think they said that to kind of deflect a little bit of the responsibility on his campaign. I've been around politics enough to know that people are vetted. The things that they say are screened prior to. So I think that this was very intentional.
And so, you talk about all of those comments over the years as well, Monica. Is this one different? Do you think it's being received any differently?
It's a little bit different because Puerto Ricans, home and here in the U.S., are prideful people. And I feel like they're going to show that at the voting polls.
Do you think that what went down in that rally last night will have an impact on how people vote?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially with the younger generation. I have a bunch of younger cousins who were really not so much that they knew who to vote for, but they were on the fence about voting in general, coming out to vote. And I think this comment, the disrespect, the lack of everything, just, presidentialism is what I call it. They've made their decisions. A lot of my little cousins are on Instagram, Facebook, kind of saying, no, we're going out to vote because we're Puerto Rican and we're going to stand for this. I mean, even myself, I internalized this a little bit differently. I was voting already because I've always felt that we've had to, as women, had to fight for our kind of space and our respect. But now I'm voting specifically because I am Puerto Rican.
We heard following the rally last night, Monica, from some Puerto Rican stars, Bad Bunny, Ricky Martin, Jennifer Lopez, all posted online about their support for Harris. I wonder, how influential do you think those endorsements could be?
I think they're highly influential. They make a huge difference, especially because they are Puerto Rican. The people, the artists that are coming forward, they're Puerto Rican, so we definitely identify. Considering that in this election and in politics in general, representation matters. So to see that people like us, that look like us, that speak our language, are kind of voicing their concern, it's highly influential. And especially specifically Bad Bunny with a younger voting bloc. I feel like he's putting this on the forefront. So that kind of is really going to sway, specifically in Philadelphia, because there's 500,000 Puerto Ricans in Philadelphia, as you know. We're a swing state, so I think it's monumental.
Yeah, I was reading that, so 580,000 Latinos in Pennsylvania, and that is about 7 times what President Biden's margin of victory was in the state in 2020. So, potentially quite impactful there. Monica, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Really appreciate it. That's Monica Perea in Philadelphia.
The final week, not just of World Series baseball, but of campaigning in the race for president. And the focus right now on the battleground states.
Indeed. Vice President Harris is spending the day in Michigan, while former President Obama stumps for her in Philadelphia. Mr. Trump, meantime, will hold a rally in Atlanta, while his running mate, J.D. Vance, will be in Wisconsin.
And while the candidates will be in the battleground states, the talk on the campaign trail continues to surround yesterday's Trump rally in Madison Square Garden, and particularly a so-called comedian who spoke before Mr. Trump and made a number of racist comments, including one about Puerto Rico. Today, the Trump campaign and Ms. Harris responded.
It was a comedian who made a joke in poor taste. Obviously, that joke does not reflect the views of President Trump or our campaign.
I will never forget what Donald Trump did and what he did not do when Puerto Rico needed a caring and a competent leader. He abandoned the island, tried to block aid after back-to-back devastating hurricanes, and offered nothing more than paper towels and insults. And now Donald Trump promises to be even more extreme.
And Eyewitness News reporter Joe Torres spoke with Puerto Rican lawmakers and voters. And Joe, is this the kind of comment that could actually cost Mr. Trump some votes?
You know, Sade, it makes you wonder what's the political strategy here, right? It's tough to figure it out. Here we are in the Bronx, home to many of the roughly 1 million Puerto Ricans who live in the 5 boroughs, who live here and vote here as well. Many of them we talked to today, they knew about the comments that were uttered at the rally last night. They also knew that it wasn't the former president who uttered those words, but at the same time they said it'll be the former president who pays the price on Election Day. Approach a Puerto Rican in New York and play the video of last night's incendiary comments about their homeland, and then watch the fire ignite.
What kind of people say that?
Yeah.
They don't know us.
Yeah.
Why they judge like that?
It's really hard to accept that came out of his mouth.
I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah, I think it's called Puerto Rico.
That was comedian Tony Hinchcliffe, who tried to fire up a jam-packed Madison Square Garden crowd of Trump supporters ahead of the former president's speech. The joke bombed, but the explosive fallout reverberated across the country to the 5 million plus stateside Puerto Ricans, many of them registered voters, and more than 3 million American citizens on the island.
Convicted Trump didn't say the words that were said at his rally, but it doesn't matter because it was his rally.
Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey!
Hey-ho!
This afternoon in East Harlem, a who's who of Puerto Rican federal, state, and city leaders held a news conference to condemn the comments uttered Sunday night. Comments made at a rally designed to gain supporters in a tight presidential election. Comments that could backfire in a key battleground state.
So, you know, he made a calculated error yesterday. Basically, he said goodbye to PA, to Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, we have 450,000 Puerto Ricans.
And this is about human rights, civil rights, and this is about my people, my mother, my grandmother who died after Maria. This is about our people who have suffered for way too long.
He has shown us time and time again that he doesn't value us, that he doesn't value our vote, that he doesn't respect us as people.
Now, you had it at the top of the broadcast there, but it's worth repeating that a spokesperson from the Trump campaign today acknowledged those comments uttered at the rally yesterday were in poor taste and do not reflect the campaign or the feelings of the former president. Coming up in our next report at 6 o'clock, you'll hear from more Puerto Ricans who will explain to you why they don't believe that. We're live in the Bronx. I'm Joe Torres, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
And ladies and gents, as you watch the three V's with me, I got a couple remarks to discuss about that. Number one, that the Fox, it wasn't Fox News, one of the campaign spokesperson that is saying that, oh, Trump does have nothing to do with that he didn't say none of that. This is some BS. Because if you know anything about campaign, you have all the warm-up people that come before the main candidate, such as you see Kamala Harris. They have a bunch of people talking. They have some musicians, yada yada, to warm up the crowd, to get everybody ready until Kamala show up. The same way with the Republicans. They have all this red meat throwing up there to warm it up. But before all this event happened, those people that want to speak, they send their material to the campaign. Then campaign is going to vet it if it's valid or not. And they're going to cut some off, they're going to throw some off. So for the campaign to allow him to say that in the first place should be issue number one. And second of all, after all that, all this red meat that was thrown there, talk about minority, how terrible the country is, and all the other spokesperson that show up, so that the Hulk Hogan, Giuliani that's broke right now, they have to sell his house, his watch to, after thank God for the two ladies in Georgia that he basically disseminate their lives. So finally, they are getting justice. So they had Giuliani have to give one of those condos or whatever. He basically he's in bad shape. He's broke, literally, you know. And Giuliani was there, even though his daughter came out supporting Kamala Harris. So to see the situation related to Giuliani and all these people that throw red meat, so they already knew, the campaign knew about it, and they didn't say anything. They okay. And Trump, when it finally came to the stage, he did not say anything about it. Remember Senator McCain, when he was running against Barack Obama, and this old lady got up and started to say some stupid shit about Obama, and that he's a Muslim, he want to kill America. McCain right there grabbed the microphone from her hand and say, no ma'am, that's wrong. We have some political difference, we have some policy difference, but Barack Obama is a decent man, he loves this country, yada, yada, yada. That's what Trump should do if he really care about it. Now, I want you guys to think that every place that Trump went through, all these rallies, Chicago is trash, Detroit is trash, the country is a trash can. Everywhere he goes, North Carolina is a piece of crap. No, FEMA doesn't care about you. Nothing but lies. Everywhere in his campaign that Trump went there, he talked bad about the people, the local people, the state, whatever. Now, for all minorities over there, one thing they analyzed this a long time ago. For me, I would say the true core people that Trump support, they're not going to leave Trump for nothing. Number one are the millionaires, because they know for a fact the only thing they are focused is their money. The wealthy people, not the rich. That's a difference between wealth and being rich. Let me give an example of what wealth is all about. In 2007, I was living in Virginia. I came to Florida to do a job. I was hired to participate in the group. There was a bunch of Latino people coming to this hotel, a very expensive hotel called The Breaker. If you never heard about this hotel, do your search. The Breaker is a very, very expensive hotel in West Palm Beach, Florida. Same place where the Mar-a-Lago is located. All right? This is 2007, ladies and gents. So a company hired me because on their staff, they don't have nobody that spoke Portuguese or Spanish. I speak 3 languages. I speak English, Portuguese, and Spanish. So at that time, they hired me to help them to translate and to deal with all the participants for the event over there. Once again, this was 2007. All right? I stayed there for a week, almost for 5 days. And I'm a kind of person that I'm a people person. I communicate, I make friends, I try to get to know the people. I believe in build coalition. So wherever I go in my job, I know a lot of people, different departments. I try to reach out to get to know these people by name, get to know, so build some kind of relationship with them. So they trust me, I trust them, we can get a job together, yada yada. So while I'm doing the job over there, I get to know the staff members from the hotel. And I start asking a couple questions. Keep in mind, I was the only black in there. With exception of the staff, on housekeeping, front desk, as far as gas is concerned, I was the only black. Now, I was working, but the people around did not know I was working. So they just saw a black guy over there going to the restaurant and go to the pool, and basically, quote unquote, off my job. I was enjoying my best life. And that particular hotel, The Breakers, without the company that I was working for, they brought a lot of groups there before, so they have a special group rates when they come and bring people to the hotel. But without that rate, the room that I stayed was $800 per night. Keep in mind, this is 2007, ladies and gents. A glass of lemonade at one of the restaurants was $15 for a glass of lemonade. And they have this huge property. This is beautiful. It's beautiful, beautiful hotel. Google The Breakers, West Palm Beach, Florida. You're going to see the pictures. You're going to see, yeah, Casanova, damn, this place is beautiful. It's really beautiful. And then behind the main property, they have this place that's called the Clubhouse. The Clubhouse is separate from the hotel. And that particular clubhouse should be just a member of give access to the clubhouse, not the hotel. You can't be a hotel guest. If you're a hotel guest, you have access to the clubhouse. But if you're not a hotel guest, you need to pay extra money. At that time was $10,000 annual fee to be a member, clubhouse member. And even though you pay that $10,000, if you go to the restaurant and eat or drink, you still have a bill for you to pay. So this is just the annual fee to be a member. I'm saying that to say this. All these people, the wealthy and rich people, the wealthy people want Trump to be president because they know they want to pay less tax and they're going to have way more money again in their pocket, the money they already have. That's number one. That's the number one Trump supporters. Number two are the racists. Say what you want. Because they pay attention, and a lot of people were vibrating, not just the jokes and sets, but the other. If you have a time, go to YouTube, you can watch the whole event. And you're going to see that all the other speakers, they came before and after the comedian. They are throwing red meat on the crowd, talk about immigrants, talk about how bad the liberals are. Kamala is the Antichrist, and people are cheering, so they enjoy that. And the lightning, everything is red. So it's, in my spirit, like I said, oh my God, I can't know. I was just like, whoo, the spirit, they are just like throwing red meat and let's hate each other. Let's know they are terrible. Oh no, they talk about the Latinos, they talk about the Palestinians, they talk about the black people. Oh yes, because he already talked about the Haitians. So don't get twisted, ladies, because you're black, you are connected to Haitian too. Because the Haitians, they all look at you as all black people the same. Latinos, they look at you all, Mexican, Bolivians, Colombians, Panamanians, Dominicans. So don't think that you're not black, you're not Latino, black. Yes, you are. Oh, I'm Dominican. Yeah, you're black and you're Latino at the same time. So all these, the hate. And another thing that was pay attention, I did some search because the one guy that was there, Stephen Miller, I cannot stand that piece of crap. Stephen Miller is a wimp-ass, whack-ass, fragile man that he thinks he's all dead. Can I grant now? If you blow, he fly away. Must weigh about like 105 pounds and think he was all bravado. This piece of crap, he basically repeat Hitler's speech when he's in Germany that said Germany is for Germans. The same way he was basically repeat everything that Hitler said because Americans for Americans only. Okay, ladies, if you don't know, I did my search. Okay, number one is Stephen Miller. He was born in California, Santa Monica, California, on August 23rd, 1985. All right, his parents are Jewish. Number one. And on his mother, the grandparents on his mother's side, guess what? They migrated from Russia, present Belarus right now. Okie dokie. And Miller became a conservative after he read this book called Guns, Crime, and Freedom. So he just went out and think that he's white. Let's forget about the immigrants. He has some issues in the high school, talk about Latino immigrants. He wrote a letter to the high school paper and all this thing. His wife's name is Katie Waldman. She was born in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And her father is a lawyer. His name is Glenn J. Waldman. He's a Fort Lauderdale lawyer. And I didn't write his mother's name. Okay, now I'm going to give her a quote-unquote discount on her parents because at the end of the day, and even though his parents, because at the end of the day, when you raise a child, once the child comes to age, the child's gonna do whatever the child want to be. So as a parent, I'm gonna be easy on the parents right now because I do not know extra details about upbringing and where his parents and his wife, Stephen Miller's wife's parents, stand on it. I'm just giving some information. I try to dig more as far as the background of the parents or Stephen Miller's wife's parents' background, but I did not go too further. And at the end of the day, ladies and gents, if you're not a Native American, you are immigrant. The only two, the Native Americans, if you're a Native American, shut the fuck up. And the blacks, they were brought to the United States as slaves. We do not pay the carnival ticket to come to America. And everybody else, the Chinese, the Italians, the Germans, all these came on the boat. They paid the ticket to come to. Now, I forgot there's an island in New York. I forgot the name right now, but people from New York know exactly what I'm talking about. Where all the immigrants from Europe came through. It was the port of entry to the United States. So all the people that came from Europe came right there. So everybody else are descendants of immigrants. And there's another thing, the Latinos that support Trump is because the Latinos want to think they're whites. They want to be on the white wagon. They have enough light skin and they think they're white, but you are not. So there's a wake-up call. He talk about the Puerto Ricans, the Boricuas, they see all it's the same. The Cubans, especially the Cubans, no, that one thing that really pissed me off. And I know somebody, at my job, she married a white dude and she thinks he's white. Oh no, honey, you're a Cuban. Your parents are a Cuban. They came to America as a Cuban immigrants. So even though if you have a fair light skin, you don't play between and think that you are white. You're Latino. You're Cuban. So the racist people in this country are going to see you as a Latino. And they put you in the same boat, everybody, all Latinos, the same boat that the shitty Tony say that he said Puerto Rico, but basically he's talking about all Latinos are garbage. Period. So if you don't see that and you still support this piece of shit, shame on you. And another thing too, Trump keeps saying, I know I did my story about Trump too. I told that before, that now Trump, his descendants are from German, who is his grandfather. They came to the United States. And his Scottish descendant. So he keeps talking about immigrants, right? Poison the blood of this country. First Trump's wife. When she was born, let me see. Her name was Ivana Marie. She was born in 1949 in Zlín, I believe. Zlín, Czechoslovakia. Now, Czech Republic. Was an immigrant. Ooh. The next one. The one that Trump cheated Ivana with Marie in Maples. Where is she from? Ooh, let me see. Born in 1963 in Cohula, Georgia. Not Georgia, the state. The country in Georgia, in Europe. Another immigrant. Ooh la la. And the final one. Melania Trump. Where's Melania? Oh, but Melania was born in 1970 in Yugoslavia. Now it's Slovenia. So, Trump parents, no, the family, the grandparents came from Germany and in Scotland. So for these hypocrites to talk about immigrants still poison the blood of this country, you are ridiculous. And for all these people right there, and go through all, because it's actually from generation to generation, you forgot, that, oh, now you think we're white, oh yes, you're the purity, this country for us, now that's about us. No sir, no ma'am. If you're going to talk about the reality of this country, you are only stolen land. They don't want to talk about it, they don't want to discuss about it, but let's talk about facts. And that's what it is. So for all, and I'm looking, my TikTok went crazy, all this, and I'm glad. Puerto Ricans, please rise up. And I know one thing about Puerto Ricans, the blood is hot. When the blood boils on their veins. And look at the history of Puerto Rico too. Puerto Rico has been raped, disgraced by the United States government. From the get-go, when the United States government decided to take over that island. And then I think to the contribution of, after all that, and the contribution to Puerto Rico and Latinos in general for this nation is tremendous. Go ahead and watch John Leguizamo's series about Latin Historia. I believe it's in PBS. Available for you right now to learn the contribution of all Latinos to this nation. And it has been long and it has been great. The same way the contribution of African Americans to this country. They built this country, free labors for 400 years, then reach a lot of people. So ladies and gents, if you are a member of this, and if you think they care about you, they don't feel minority. And if you think that the Republicans and Trump care about you, you are the most stupid, dumb person on the face of this earth. Because they don't care. Trump saying his rally, I said that before, I'm going to say it again. In his rally in Las Vegas, Nevada, he said right there, I don't care about you, I just want your vote. And it's double standard right now, because I'm telling you right now, if Barack Obama, if it was that Kamala Harris event, if it was now Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton event, I know that all the Republicans and Fox News and News Nation and all these right wings, the news, they're going to be crazy about it. This man Trump said that he wants to abolish the Constitution. Now, we can agree to disagree, like when they say AOC was talking about Cheney and Kamala Harris build a coalition. The main thing about this election right now, ladies and gentlemen, is protect the democracy and the Constitution. Because Trump and the Project 2025 and all these Republicans, they want to stay in power. They want to eliminate that. DeSantis, at my last episode, talk about DeSantis and his fascism way or silence the people and get away with whatever they want. Because everything else does not apply to them. The rules and regulations and the law do not apply to them. They have the power, they have the money, they want to do whatever they want to do. But when it comes to you and I, that's a different story. So, you have a few more days. If you do not vote yet, please go vote. This is very important. If you care about we maybe don't care about you, but if you have children, if you have grandchildren, if you have daughters, if you have aunts, sisters, and female cousins, all these is going to affect the future generation. So these elections, the main thing is to protect democracy and to protect the Constitution of the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my 2 cents about that. About today's episode. Next Saturday, ladies and gents, probably you already know who's going to be the next president of the United States, and I'm going to dedicate the whole episode about it. So, and then I may go live on the election day. I know for sure, one thing I know, it's not going to be over on the election day, because there's a whole lot of votes that need to come to be count of it. But I believe that this year, I would say by Wednesday in the afternoon, you should have the numbers at least, or early evening, the numbers of the college, electoral college, should be already at least more than 270s. And I truly believe, because one thing that Trump has just kept is his base, the rich and the racist. He did not expand his base. And Kamala Harris' campaign has built a huge coalition on different sectors of the population. That's why I do not pay attention to this polls right here, and I know for sure that she is going to be the next president of the United States. Well, on next Saturday, we're going to discuss that. If I rhyme right, or if I'm right. Or I may be wrong, but I hope not. By the grace of God, hallelujah, I'm not going to be wrong. So ladies and gents, so please be safe, be kind, and be blessed, and do the best of what you can do with what you got. Salute. And I see you next Saturday. Holla!
Pusher on the block, holding my down, sucker rappers get lost. Coming from the bottom, moving straight to the top. Coming with the pull up for the #1 spot. Pushing my rap like the pusher on the block, holding my down, sucker rappers get lost. Coming from the bottom, moving straight to the top. Coming with the pull up for the #1 spot. Pushing my rap like the pusher on the block, holding my down, sucker rappers get lost.